Start your day with insight and inspiration. Morning Tea with Black Westchester's Damon K. Jones, where life, culture, community, and faith come together.
Peace and blessings, everybody. I'm Damon K. Jones, and this is Black Westchester Magazine, and I am the publisher, Damon K. Jones, and this is the Publisher's Desk, the Morning Tea, where we talk about life, culture, community, faith, and politics. And in breaking news, we just have breaking news. The new United States Attorney General, Pam Bondi, has filed a lawsuit against the New York State Attorney General, Tish James, and the New York State Governor, Kathy Hochul, over sanctuary cities.
You know, we sued Illinois, and New York didn't listen. So now you're next. Millions of illegal aliens with violent records have flooded into our communities, bringing violence and deadly drugs with them.
But let's have a conversation first about a young woman who just turned 20 years old, who was raped and murdered in our own home by an MS-13 gang member who should have never been in the United States in the first place. Her name was Kayla Hamilton. Her mother, Tammy Nobles, have been fighting for justice ever since.
To be here today and being able to share Kayla's story. Her murderer was able to come across the border knowing that he was flagged as an MS-13 gang member, and he had a criminal record in 2020 in El Salvador for illicit gang activity. He came over as an unoccupied alien child, saying that he was afraid of gang activity in his country. Health and Human Services called him a nice boy, and he showed age-appropriate behavior. That fell so wrong when he murdered my daughter. He ended up in Maryland, where he was able to rent a room in the same mobile home as her. We thought it was a legit company that were renting out these rooms, but it turned out that it was another illegal immigrant who owned these mobile homes, and he knew Walter from El Salvador. He knew him and allowed him to rent a room with my child. Kayla just turned 20 years old 3 days before she was murdered. Her murderer was only living there for 5 days before he viciously strangled her, raped her, and left her on the floor like trash and robbed her of $6. I have been sharing her story for over 2.5 years to bring change, because this should have not have ever happened to Kayla, and it shouldn't be happening to other families being hurt by the border. Homeland Security did not do their jobs. They did not check his background. You know, they did say that he was processed. So if they processed him, they knew that he was a gang member and still allowed him here. Health and Human Services did not verify the sponsor and allowed him to go with a sponsor that they don't even know if it was his cousin or his aunt. And he was able to leave the sponsor's house to go live wherever he wanted.
And now, the U.S. Department of Justice has taken a bold action in suing Governor Kathy Hochul and Attorney General Tish James over the so-called green light laws that protect undocumented immigrants, even dangerous criminals, at the expense of the American citizens. And let me tell you, brothers and sisters, I've been in law enforcement for 33 years. My wife is in law enforcement. I come from a law enforcement family. And if they will be honest with you, there have been problems with illegal migrants, with crime and violence in the communities. Look what's going on out there in Chicago. They're gangbanging with the gangbangers. So we have a problem that we need to fix. So let's listen to the new U.S. Attorney General.
We were letting walk into our country, and that's why President Trump has directed this to stop. And if you don't comply with federal law, we will hold you accountable. We did it to Illinois, strike one. Strike two is New York. And if you are a state not complying with federal law, you're next, get ready. And the great men and women of law enforcement are standing behind me today. We have FBI, DEA, ATF agents. They put their lives on the line every single day to protect us.
The U.S. government knew he was flagged as a MS-13 member, but instead of stopping him, Homeland Security let him in. The Department of Health and Human Services called him a nice boy and said he showed age-appropriate behavior.
Us. And what New York has, they have green light laws, meaning they're giving a green light to any illegal alien in New York where law enforcement officers cannot check their identity if they pull them over. Law enforcement officers do not have access to their background. And if these great men and women pull over someone and don't have access to their background, they have no idea who they're dealing with. And it puts their lives on the line every single day. Violent criminals, gang members, drug traffickers, human smugglers will no longer terrorize the American people. And that is why we are here today.
That's crazy. So police officers, FBI agents, ICE officials are blocked from doing their jobs and protecting communities. They can't check immigration status, they can't access criminal records, and that puts all of us at risk. Now, brothers and sisters, this just shows that there's a flaw in the process. Now, I didn't know this until this press conference, but I really think we have to rethink how we do this immigration. It's a problem. It is a problem, brothers and sisters.
Briefly walk us through what the legal claims are you're making in this lawsuit?
Yeah, absolutely. So the green light laws are that this is what the green light law says. It's a green light to illegal immigration, which says they can comply. That law is unconstitutional.
The U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi argues that New York's policies are unconstitutional and put American lives in danger. One of the most controversial rules, what is called the tip-off provision, this requires the DMV to notify undocumented immigrants when the federal immigration agents request their information. In other words, if ICE tries to track down a criminal, the New York DMV warns them. That's crazy. So police officers, FBI agents, ICE officials are blocked from doing their jobs and protecting communities.
They have a tip-off provision that requires New York's DMV commissioner to promptly inform any illegal alien when a federal immigration agency has requested their information. So think about the men and women in law enforcement behind me. That's basically, that's not basic, it's tipping off an illegal alien, and it's unconstitutional. And that's why we filed this lawsuit, and that's why we charge Mark Schroeder too, because he runs DMV.
Let's have some truth when we having these conversations. Some claim that migrants crossing illegally haven't committed a crime, but this is false. They have violated federal law, just like someone sneaking into another country without permission. They have violated those countries' laws. So maybe we could have real conversations and understand that the only legal way to enter the U.S. for asylum is by going to a designated point of entry. Crossing the border outside of these checkpoints is illegal, regardless of the reason. We can't get our emotions to outthink actual law and reality.
Legal asylees
are not charged with any crime.
When you're into the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum and go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay.
So what happens now? The DOJ will push the case through the courts, and if they win, sanctuary policies could be dismantled in New York and beyond. So leave a message and tell us what you think, brothers and sisters. And go to blackwestchester.com and check out our articles on blackwestchester.com. And like and share and please follow while we're trying to give you the news with the black point of view. So have a blacktastic day. And remember, as I always say, God is in your vegetables. Peace out.
Where life, culture, community, and faith come together. Please subscribe, follow, and share Black Westchester. It's the news with the black point of view.